guys, this is Revolve, and today I'm going to be going over this Wraith game that I played about a week ago. And as you can see, this was a very high MMR lobby, Eternus 6 average, where I managed to do my job here on carry and help secure our team the win. I went 17-3. But this was actually a really hard game, and for the majority of the game, we were actually down 30k souls. You can see at 20 minutes, which was kind of the halfway point of this game, and getting solidly into that mid-boss territory where the stakes of the game go up a lot, we were down 30k souls. And still we managed to win. And I would just want to go through this and kind of break down for you guys what I was able to do as Wraith and our kind of only M1 carry on the team to help carry this game and get our team to win. I think I was also probably one of the lower MMR players in that game, just with me being Eternus 5 and the lobby being Eternus 6 average. So let's go ahead and hop right into the replay. One of the first things you want to think about is how strong are we in the lane right now? Meaning, if we trade with them right now, can we win the trade? And the answer is no. Paige has a very strong gun at level 1, probably one of the best in the game. And then Geist also has her life drain, and will probably put her first upgrade into that. And this is actually going to continue after the first wave too. Geist is going to get that point in life drain that I was just talking about, and Paige will likely pick up high velocity rounds as her first item. Meanwhile, I'm going to have to buy monster rounds just because Wraith is a bit weaker at the start. And I think my McGinnis also buys high velocity rounds here too, or excuse me, monster rounds. So even though McGinnis is strong in lane, she's going to spend her first 800 souls on monster rounds. So just based on the characters in the matchup, I know that unless my McGinnis can wall one of them off while I have multiple cards, like a trade like this isn't something that I want to be taking. I miss my card. I take almost 500 damage, so that's a really bad trade. So I really want to be playing passively here. You want to save your cards for like an opportune time whenever you can generate a lot of pressure in a trade that's favorable for you. So I'm just gonna, even though I have 3 cards and 2 of them are spades, which are the second best card, I'm just gonna roll in and try to use all 3 of my cards on the Geist or on the Page. I'm gonna play off my McGinnis, and if she walls one of them off, then I'm gonna look to use my cards. So because I had all those cards saved up, I was able to chunk the Geist there down really heavily. And now I can actually kill her. Because I haven't been trading and I was saving my cards, I still have all my HP. Meanwhile, the Geist is low. And just like that, the Geist goes down. So if I would have kept trading and kept my HP low and used all my cards, that kill wouldn't have been possible. Generally on Wraith in the lane, you don't just want to throw your cards kind of as you get them. You want to save up multiple cards for a big burst, so that if they overstep or they make a mistake, you have a burst of like 700 damage just stored up, and you can punish them really hard, which is basically what happened there. But now the lane is going to start to flip a little bit. McGinnis is strong in lane, and she is about to pick up Intensifying Magazine, I believe. That's what McGinnis typically builds in lane. And I just got my Quicksilver reload. So you want to think about your power spikes in lane, and Quicksilver reload is the first big power spike that Wraith gets in lane. So now I can actually start to look playing aggressively. I'm also about to get my 2 points in my cards, which is the second big power spike. So since the last time that we were kind of fighting and trading, I'm significantly stronger now. I have my Quicksilver reload. I have 2 points in my cards. At this point, we have a more commanding stance on the lane. I'm not sure what my McGinnis is going to buy here, but she has enough for a 1600 item, so see what she picks up. Okay, Arcane Surge. It's not really a lane dominating item. I would have liked to see her pick up something like an Intensifying Magazine, but even so, we're a lot stronger than them now. You should always look to do this. If you have priority over the lane, which we were able to get there, you can look to invade the enemy boxes instead of taking your own. There's a lot of boxes up here on the roof, so I was able to secure those and take them away from the enemy, which is a nice like 200 or 300 soul swing. So again, I know that I don't want to be throwing my cards just willy-nilly any chance I get. I need to be saving up my cards, so if they overstep, and once I get my ult here in like 100 souls, I can look for an ult. Well, I have multiple cards. And just like that, the guy's is a pretty easy kill. Something I want to point out that you should really look to do in these sorts of scenarios is whenever I get my ult, and I have multiple cards. Let's see, I have 2. The replay is just bugged. So I get my ult here. You can see that I notice that the Geist is already fighting my McGinnis. So I don't instantly lift him, because he's already here where I can shoot him. He's not running away yet. You can see that I hold my ult, and I wait to drag him back in until he starts running. And just like that, the Geist goes down again. We're able to chase the page down here. And I'm able to parry the page off of my McGinnis after he gets parried. So it was a really good start to the lane. I'm starting out 3-0. I have my main laning power spikes, which is my Quicksilver reload, 2 points of my cards, and my ult, and start off nice 3-0. So at this point, we have a pretty commanding stance over the lane. I'm going to grab this bridge buff because typically at 5 minutes, you'll rotate to grab the bridge buff immediately when it spawns, but we were fighting them. So after I kill the page, I grab the bridge buff. And now that we're so much stronger than them, we want to start looking to take their tower. So my next item here is going to be Surge of Power, which... let's see what happens here. So again, just looking for a trade on their page. I know at this point they really can't trade with me. My McGinnis has her ult as well, so at this point we're just in such a commanding position over the lane that, you know, as long as I don't do something stupid like get page rooted or guy swapped, the lane is pretty easy at this point. Missed the parry on the tower. But I have my ult coming up again. I have a Joker. So I should be able to look for a kill pretty shortly. Here I know that I'm very close to my Surge of Power. Just need 50 souls, so getting these boxes so that I have it for this wave. And now I'm really strong. I have my 4.8k Spirit Spike. I have my ult. So this should be pretty straightforward. Just going to be looking for a kill with my ult here. Let's see. Yeah, so I saw the page leave on the minimap, and Geist is here alone now. I have my ult. I have 3 cards. So she basically just explodes. Now we're able to get the tower. And okay, so at this point, this is when I have a decision to make. We just took the enemy tower. Geist is dead. What do you go do now? So because I don't have my ult, and I don't have... well, I have 1 card. But I only have 1 card, and I don't have my ult. So rotating to a lane and getting kills is a little bit out of the question here. I could maybe look on green lane just because both of these guys are pretty low. But instead what I decide to do here, I believe, is since it's 7 minutes 30 seconds and we have this wave all the way pushed up, I want to look to invade their doubles. Anytime that you win a lane really hard, especially if it's mid lane, which gives you access to the entire map, basically, you want to look to invade the enemy jungle. If you win the lane, always try to invade the enemy jungle. Get healed up here. Probably buy Enchanter's Emblem. Actually, don't buy. Not really sure why I didn't buy there. I'm not really sure what my thought process was in that moment. But as I was saying, I pushed the wave all the way in. Based on what I see on the map, Holiday is dead. Calico and Infernus are fighting over here. And the Abrams and the Infernus are fighting over here. Or excuse me, not the Abrams and the Infernus. The Abrams and the Page. And with Geist on the blue lane, that is all of the members of the enemy team accounted for, so I know that I'm safe to try to invade the double sweep. So Geist does come to stop me, but, you know, since I'm Wraith, it's pretty easy to get out of these scenarios. I dodge the bomb. I TP out. So I remember her chasing me here, if I'm not mistaken, which is kind of funny because there's no way she's catching up to me. So the doubles invasion didn't work out, but it's always worth going for that kind of a play. Because I knew where all of them were on the map. So the only person that could come contest me was the Geist. And if you are able to successfully invade the doubles like that, it's like a 2k gold swing and a 16 statue buff swing at 8 minutes in the game, which is massive. So if that's something that you're able to do successfully, it sets yourself up really well. It gives you a lot of farm and takes away from their enemy carry, which is really helpful in setting up a soul differential. So just like I had a really good start to this game, so did the Infernus, and he is actually walker diving me here. And I do end up going down just because he has this headhunter item and weapon shielding and suppressor, so he's pretty strong in these 1v1s. He has a good build for it. Even with the walker resist, it wasn't quite enough to take him down there. I think if I would have managed to parry one of his light melees, I probably could have survived without dying to the afterburn. But I do end up going down there. So now off the spawn, you want to think, where should I go? So I know yellow lane isn't really an option because Billy already pushed the wave up. I don't have my ult and I don't have any cards, so I don't really want to partake in either of these fights. But our doubles are up. So I see the bridge buff, I see that our doubles are up. So that is kind of what I'm thinking in my head, is that it's 10 minutes, 30 seconds. I need to get these doubles cleared because I'm our team's carry. Somebody needs to take them. My doorman does manage to kidnap the Geist here, it looks like. So I was considering rotating, but looks like she managed to get out. So just go back to take the doubles.
Headed to York.
So this was a little bit of a misplay by me. You can see the Infernus is kind of hitting our walker here, and before I'm even able to get there, our walker is basically half dead. So I probably should have just taken one of the centers and then backed off to the walker. And now this guy's fighting me again, which I forced the ult out here. But this guy's just so strong in the 1v1 with the headhunter and suppressor. So I probably shouldn't have walked back up to the wave here. And I think I do die to the burn here. Yeah, so I played that really badly. I should have respected the Infernus' damage a little bit more. The whole time that fight was going on, I was calling my team over to come help. And you see now the Silver and the Billy are here for the kill. But I kind of thought they would be there a little bit quicker without checking the map. So you know, that was on me. And then kind of off of that, their Infernus got a solo kill and a solo walker. So he's 17k now, which is a lot. It's pretty insane. And you can see the Infernus even types like, where's your team at? And, you know, I maybe should have called them over a little bit earlier. But it's just a little bit of a hard spot to be in. So at this point, the Urn fight is happening, and you kind of have two choices as the carry whenever there is kind of a cross map objective happening. So this is the urn or the unstable rift on the new patch. You can either push the walker that's on the opposite side of the map as the objective. So I could push yellow because they're trying to turn the urn in on green. Or I can show up to the urn fight. So I end up TPing to the urn fight here because I see that Eternus is on this wave. And I know that even if I have my ult, it's very unlikely that I can kill him here. Because he's 5k above me and he has walker resist. So maybe if I had like 4 jokers, like a mix of 4 spades and jokers, but I don't have that. And like in all likelihood, he would be able to hold me off from pushing this walker. Like by the time I was able to generate enough cards to actually pressure the Eternus off the walker, the urn fight would probably be over and his team would be rotated if he played it well. So I think I end up deciding just to go to the urn fight here. Yeah. And I'm also not really concerned with leaving Eternus alone in this lane because there's nothing for him to take, right? Like he already took the walker. So I don't have to worry about him setting yellow and taking the walker because it's already gone. There's nothing for me to defend there. So I show up here. I don't really mind. Like, normally it's bad to fight in the middle of the urn like this, but I'm just paying attention to how many people I have aggroed on me. And I know my TP, so I'm able to just get out. But, like, this is something that a lot of, I guess, carry players suffer from, and not just carry players, but like anybody playing Deadlock, is they have too much helper syndrome. So you saw after I realized the fight was going bad, I didn't have any cards. The only thing I really had was my ult, which isn't going to swing that fight. I just leave. Because the #1 job for me in this game is to get enough souls to carry the game, right? And I can't do that if I'm dead. So by not dying there, I'm able to pick up this wave, and then pick up the next wave, and clear this camp. And avoid feeding the enemy team souls from dying. So if I would have died there, it would have been pretty bad. If I get to center. Like, me dying over there doesn't serve any purpose. There's no way that I'm going to swing that fight.
If something's stationary, it won't last long.
Then I'm able to get this wave. I see Holiday here. I'm considering pushing the walker, but she just instantly deletes my whole wave with 1 barrel. Always steal the enemy jungle when you can. I know that my entire team is getting kind of slammed over here on the green walker, so I'm safe to hit the safe and continue pushing here. So again, I see everybody on the map. Right, there's 5 people here, and Holiday just rotated blue to kill my doorman who was pushing blue. So I could push this walker. And I use my full auto and a card on this camp instead. I'm really not sure if this was a mistake or not, because if we look, I could have hit the walker for... Let's see how long I would have had to hit it. So the walker would lose backdoor protection like right now. It's like 1442. And instead, while this is happening, I just go get this save. And by the time the Holiday gets here, it's 14:55. So I would have had about 13 seconds there to hit the walker, which probably was enough time for me to take it. So I would say that was the first like big mistake that I made this game, is that I did not try to push that walker. I could have got solo walker gold for that, which would have given me like 3k souls, put me up to about 19k at this point, which would have made me a lot more competitive with their Eternus. Instead, I'm like 7k souls behind him. So, you know, I saw the Holiday mid. I saw the rest of their team was green. I should have pushed that there. Fast forward through this pause. So then I'm back on the solo lane. I think most people know this at this point, but as carry, you generally don't want to be kind of in these skirmishes in the mid game. You want to be on the side lane threatening a walker. You get a solo wave, which gives you more gold, which is your main job, is to collect gold so you can carry the game. And if you can get a walker, that's also very big for your team. You're the best person on your team to do that. So here I'm able to catch their Geist out, and now I'm able to take the walker. And you can see that with like 15 seconds to hit this walker earlier, I definitely would have been able to take it. But I'm able to get it now. And you see that by getting a solo kill on this Geist and a solo kill on this walker, it catapults my net worth up so much that I'm now basically even with the Eternus. Like before this happened, I was... And by the way, I have a lot of unspent souls right now, but I know that I have a timer to push this walker that's expiring soon, so... I think it would have been really bad for me to go to the shop and spend all this here. I have a lot of unsecured souls, but I know the only people that can really kill me are pro. So I'm 18k. And then by the time I kill the Geist and take the walker, I'm 22k. So I got 4k souls from that. And now I have 11k. And at this point, like, finally, I'm in a position where I have enough souls to where I can feasibly carry the game if I play well. And like I said, it is a little bit scary pushing a walker by yourself whenever you have... You know, I had like 7k souls unspent and a 1k bag. And you can't just autopilot to thinking like, oh, I'm alone, I have a lot of souls unspent, I have a huge bag, I can't push the walker. Because in some scenarios, it's just not true. I saw that the only person that could possibly come to defend the walker was their Geist. And me and her were basically even net worth, and I had 4 cards and my ult. So I know that I could solo kill her if she comes to try to defend the walker, which is exactly what happened. So it would have been a really big mistake for me there to just say like, oh, I have a bag, I need to go spend it. You have to kind of analyze. You can't think so dogmatically, I guess. Like if the only time you need to spend a bag is if what you're considering doing instead could get you killed. And in that scenario, I knew that the only way I could die is like if I ulted the Geist into myself and swapped them, which, you know, I'm just not going to make that kind of a mistake. So, but now I'm able to pick up Merc Mag and Dispel Magic. So I actually want to rewind for just a second because there was something that I was thinking about this game that I think a lot of newer carry players, and this ties into kind of why it's really bad to build left to right. Which is a mistake that a lot of like intermediate level Deadlock players make. So if we rewind to whenever I had all this gold saved up, you can see here that I have enough gold to buy an item, right? So I'm gonna get Swift Striker next because I need Fire Rate. But then you also see that like there Abrams has Slowing Hex. And so what most people would do in this scenario is just default to like, okay, I'm going to get my Swift Striker, and then after that, I'm going to buy Dispel Magic. I have enough in my inventory right now that I can buy Swift Striker and Dispel Magic. And it's actually an intentional choice that I don't do that. Because if you're looking at the game state right now, you'll see that the game is actually in like a pretty volatile state. In the sense that, like, I'm our team's carry, and I am not able to fight them right now. Like, if there's a team fight in the blue lane, where, like, mid-boss is on the table, I can, like, threaten one person if I have 4 cards in my ult, and that's really it. I don't have enough farm or items to actually be a major threat in the team fight. So because of that, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm going to buy Swift Striker, but then the next item that I'm going to build actually isn't Dispel Magic. Instead, what I'm thinking to myself is I need to go ahead and buy Merc Mag, because if a team fight starts in this kind of like 18 to 20 minute range, if we lose a team fight, they could just go mid boss. So whenever this team fight happens, I need to be most of our team's damage. Everybody else on my team is poor. If I don't have Merc Mag and instead I have Dispel Magic, sure, I might be a little bit less likely to die to the Abrams that has Slow Hex, but we're just not going to be able to win the fight. Like, who's going to do the damage? My, like, 12k Drifter and my 13k Doorman? No, like, if I buy Dispel Magic here, nothing is going to die. So, essentially what I'm thinking to myself is, okay, I'm taking a bit of a risk here by buying Merc Mag, or by prioritizing buying Merc Mag, but by making that kind of calculated decision, I'm at least enabling myself to, if we get into a big team fight, I can kill more than just one person with my ult. Like, after I have Merc Mag, you become a legitimate threat in team fights to the point where you can kill, 2 or 3 people. So you can't just build left to right, because in scenarios like this where I am all my team's damage, if I don't do damage, then nothing's going to die. And it doesn't end up mattering, right? Because after this exchange or sequence where I get the Geist and the Walker, I have enough to buy a Merc Mag and Dispel, which is what I end up doing. But those are the kinds of things you need to think about. Like, what is my job in the game? Like, okay, I'm playing Wraith. I have to do damage for my team, especially because nobody else on my team is going to be doing any damage. So in these kind of very fragile games, or very volatile game states where mid boss is on the table but you can't do your job yet, you need to prioritize being able to do your job. And for me, that's doing damage. If there was like even souls, and I wasn't all of my team's net worth, then I would not be, prioritizing building damage over Dispel. So there's a fight that's going to happen soon. So this is kind of approaching the first team fight of the game where I can actually start contributing. I have my max full auto, which is a big power spike. I have my Merc Mag, which is a big power spike. So let's see what I do. Okay. So this is a team fight, right? If we lose this fight, they're going to take mid boss. My silver got picked at the start of the fight, which is our second highest net worth character. Do I go up here to save the Drifter? Or like, do I try to like get involved? Like maybe I can walk up here and ulti the Holiday, or I can TP up there, or I can shoot and throw cards. You'll see that the answer is no. And that's because, like, for one, there are people that can kill me. One of them is Abrams. I have no idea where he is. And, like, to be honest, like, my Drifter is just dead. Like, even if at the exact second that I saw him get jumped up there, I teleported to him, he still would have been dead. So, I rotate around to try to help him. But there's a Holiday up there that just barreled him for like 500 damage because he's playing Holiday. And there is an Eternus that's climbing up to him. There's nothing that I can do to save this guy's life. Like, this guy's lasso, this guy's Infernus ult, he is dead. So I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, this guy's dead. I need to stay alive because they're probably going to try to go mid-boss after this. And as long as I am alive for mid-boss, I do enough damage at this point to where whenever they're hitting mid-boss, I can burn some of their rejuves. So another fight's about to start. Let's look at the positioning here. So in general, whenever you're fighting in mid-boss as a carry, you want to be playing the Veil, right? So you see I'm playing this Veil. You want to be playing here, or over here, or this Veil over here, or like over here, right? Whenever you are playing a carry, especially in these scenarios where like I'm a quarter of my team's entire net worth right now, you never want to be the person in the pit contesting the crystals. Because if I like teleport in there and try to parry, it's very unlikely that that's going to work out, and then I'm also dead. But if I just sit here, I know my Billy's coming in. I was calming with him that he needs to come help me. If I sit here and let the Billy get in the pit instead, I do enough damage to where even if they get 1 or 2 or even 3 of the rejuves, I can take a couple of those away from them and survive. So never get in the pit. You should always be playing to do as much damage to the pit as possible. And like even if this were a 6v6 team fight where like our team was in the pit and theirs was too, I would just be like praying like, okay, hopefully my team gets some of the crystals, but if they don't, I'm going to burn as many of their rejuves as I can and we can just fight them after. So you can see I'm not leaving this veil. This is where I know is safe. You can see I look to my right. I want to make sure I'm not getting jumped by somebody that can kill me. And again, I'm sitting far, I'm using my full auto, I'm using my cards, and I'm just throwing damage into the pit. And you can see we actually already got one of their rejuves out like this, which is great. You can see I never leave the safety of the veil. And I don't waste my TP, because I know I need that to get out. But it's very important that you play those fights intelligently and you don't just like teleport it and kill yourself, because I'm a quarter of our net worth. If I die like once or twice, the game is immediately over. But by me staying alive, I was able to burn one of their rejuves. And now, oh look, I'm alive, so I have time to contest this fight too. I do like half of Abram's health almost immediately, and then he dies. So now they're down to 1 rejuve. I force guys to swap me. So by me playing my life in that mid-boss fight, I was able to take away 2 of their rejuves. So now we have another big objective fight, a team fight coming up because they're doing the urn. And the same principles that I was talking about for the mid-boss fight apply. In these big objective fights, I know there was just a patch, so now like the big circle objective that you stand in is the rift, it's not the urn anymore. Whenever there are these kind of objective fights like this, you don't want to be the person contesting the objective. Again, I am like 30% of our team's net worth. If I go in, I get lassoed or charged or Infernus ulted or slow hexed, like there are just so many bad things that could happen where I just explode and die. You have to stay back somewhere where you can safely do damage. And if the fight starts looking bad, you just leave. You can't die on this roll. Your respawn time is always really long because you have so much money. And whenever you're dead, the enemy team can do basically whatever they want on the map because you are your team's biggest threat. So whenever your biggest threat is dead, they get to do whatever they want. And in that time, you also aren't farming. So our McGinnis gets picked immediately. And I think somebody on my team calls that we need a back here. They also got the urn, so there's no point in really forcing that fight anymore. I'm also very close to Ricochet here, so you know, I'm okay with backing up and giving them the urn. After I get Ricochet, like once you get Merc Mag, Ricochet, and your full auto power spike on Wraith, that's kind of whenever you become really, really strong. And at that point, you can actually like wipe the enemy team feasibly. Especially because I'm so far ahead of the majority of their team. Just farming up here. I know I'm getting really close to my Ricochet, which I want to get before the next team fight.
Every soul helps.
I think here I go back to my Ricochet. I'm able to pick up my Ricochet, and I see my team's about to start fighting in blue, so I head to that fight. And again, the start of the fight is almost always the most important thing to kind of see and be aware of whenever you're playing carry. Because you need to think of who on the enemy team can kill me and where are they. So I know, again, kind of the main things that I need to be careful of is the Abrams charge and the Holiday Lasso. I see Abrams here, and he's kind of going around this way, right? Like he's going this way. And then I also see the Holiday here, and she's going back. So what that signals to me is that whoever my McGinnis is ulting, I'm able to safely go in here. Because their Abrams is still going to be like right here. Right, like you can see he's not even He's not even around the corner yet. And their holiday is way over here. So like by the time that she is able to get in this room, let's see if she even sees me. Yeah, I mean, she's just kind of messing around here, and she gets drifter blinded. So I'm able to kind of take the initiative created by, I guess, like the pathing that they choose, and just kind of having awareness of where the characters that threaten play. And I'm able to go right in here and just blow the Eternus up before he's even able to get his ult off. Now, if the Abrams would have came right down the lane, I wouldn't have done that. But again, if we go back, you can see after I get this Abrams kill, it's important to keep in mind where my teammates are and where the enemies are. So we get the Eternus, and then you can see here, the Geist throws a Malice at me, and I know that she's back here. I could turn and fight the Geist here, right? Like, she has swap, but that doesn't make turning and fighting her a bad play. The reason it's a bad play is because I need to stay with my kind of ball of teammates. My tanks are my Silver and my Billy. I want to stay with them. Like, they're kind of moving as a clump, I move with them. I do not go and fight this Geist alone. Like, she could not get the swap off on me as long as I use my stamina well. That's not why I don't go take this fight. It's just bad because you need to maintain formation with your team. Like, I am my team's, basically all of my team's net worth and damage. Wherever the majority of my team goes, I go with them. So I'm going to follow the clump here. I'm just going to follow these guys. And anybody that I cannot fight from kind of this clump is somebody that I'm not going to fight. So you can see I consider turning on the guys, but I just keep following the clump. And then when she drops down into the middle of my team, then I start shooting her. She gets Stormman ulted, so I can't shoot her. I keep following the clump. Follow my Silver, I follow my Drifter.
Good job. They took out Billy.
So this like mid-fight was a little bit awkward. I was looking for a target for most of it. But you can see once I actually am able to shoot people, because they're in like my effective range, they all just kind of melt.
Cards out.
And whenever you play the first, 15-20 minutes of the game like reasonably well, and you get your farm for your items, like I hit my Ricochet, I hit my Merc Mag, that part of playing carry is typically the easier part of the role. But during these mid-game fights, whenever you actually have the damage to kill people, you have to position intelligently. And if you don't and you die, your team just instantly loses the fight. Because again, like, I'm 34k, the total souls on our team is 142. I am over, I think like over 25% of my team's net worth. So if I die, the fight immediately becomes really bad. You just have to know how to position well to play these sorts of carry roles, or you're just going to lose your team the game. So the fight's over, and I have a lot of money now, and I think this point in the game is where I make probably the next major mistake, which is what item I buy. So, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier, which is whenever you're buying items, you need to think, what is my job? Am I able to do my job right now? And is there anything that could kind of stop me from doing that? By the way, I pick up the urn and drop it there just to set it as the comeback urn. But then their Calico is able to sneak it away here. But, so, you just saw in that last fight that I do plenty of damage right now. Like, anytime I was shooting at somebody, they were exploding. The only thing that I need to do at this exact moment is build items that help keep me alive. But instead, you'll see here that I build Spiritual Overflow, which gives a little bit of Spirit Lifesteal and 90 health, but it's primarily a damage item. So I think looking back, this was a big mistake because I don't need a 6k damage item here. I need items that help me survive. So something like a counter spell for the Eternus ult, for the Abrams charge, for the Geist swap, for the lasso. Would have been really good, or even E-shift. And you can see that actually costs, that mistake that I made is going to cost our team this fight. I see that the Infernus is Doorman ulted here, and then he pops his Infernus ult in the Doorman ult and Warp Stones, and I get clipped in it, and I lose basically all my health, and then the Calico chases me down and I die. So, and I also drop a 1k bag. So going back to what I was talking about earlier, if you play these fights bad, whenever you like get farmed as a carry, it kind of just loses your team the game. Like if mid boss was alive right now, they would get 3 rejuves and just win the game. Like we wouldn't be able to burn any of their rejuves. They would get 3 rejuves. They've already killed all of our walkers. They would take our shrines and they would win the game. Unless they really messed up. A Doorman does get a nice kidnap on the Geist though. But you really have to be thinking critically about what items do I need. If you don't have enough damage, you need to build damage and play smarter and more conservatively during the fights. But as soon as you have enough damage to where you can kill their team effectively, you need to start building survivability items. If I would have had Counterspell there or had E-Shift there, I don't die like that. And our team can actually play the fight. Because as we saw from a couple fights ago, I do have enough damage. So I would say that was probably the biggest mistake that I made this game. And if I'm remembering correctly, I don't make any more big errors this game. So we were able to win it in the end. But mistakes like that can be extremely costly. So again, we have another team fight. Just like I said during the last mid-boss fight, your job as a carry is to not go in the pit. You should never be here in the pit unless, like, I don't know, like your Lash ults everybody off the crystal and you see an opportunity to go punch one. Or, like, the fight is kind of starting to end and you're chasing down kills. But during this phase of the mid-boss fight where the crystal is coming down and everybody's going to be punching it, you want to be sitting behind a veil, right? Like here or over here or over here. And you want to be, as Wraith especially, you want to be ricocheting everybody in the pit and splash damaging everybody with your cards that's hitting the crystals in the pit. Because if they get like 2 rejuves, but then I instantly kill them, it doesn't matter. Which is exactly what's going to happen because I just do so much DPS at this point. And another thing that I want to point out that I think is really important is if you look at the start of this fight, the crystal's coming down, I see the Infernus, but I don't shoot him. You can see also, yeah, like the holiday is right around the corner too. If I would have just popped my full auto and started shooting at the Infernus, there's a good chance that he would have like used Flame Dash or used his ult and just ran up these stairs and zoned me off, and then I would be forced to run all the way up the stairs or burn my TP to get to the other side of the veil. And both of those things are very bad. Like I need to have my TP in case they do get on top of me. And if he forces me up all of these stairs so that I can't actually do DPS in this fight, then we are basically down our only carry. And my team's not going to be able to actually win this fight. So I need to conceal my position until the enemy team is distracted and shooting my teammates and occupied hitting the crystal, and then I can start doing damage to them. So you'll see I don't start shooting until people are punching the crystal. You can see now, like the Infernus ults, he's using it to try to secure the crystals. Here I just use all my cooldowns and they just start melting. You can see nobody's even looking at me. Like I was even standing still there for a second. And like Deadlock is such a chaotic game during team fights, especially in areas like mid-boss where there's, you know, there's the pit, then there's the veils, and there's like 3 different stories that the fight can happen on. A lot of verticality. You have your TP. If you position well at the start of the fight as a carry, it's typically very easy to keep yourself concealed to the point where you can like free cast and do a lot of damage. But the start of the fight is most important. You need to have your mobility, like your stamina, your teleport. You need to have that and all of your HP and like a good position at the start of the fight. Otherwise, everything falls apart. But now the game is pretty much over. I have all my core items, and I have souls to start building defensive items that I probably should have built earlier. But we managed to win the mid-boss fight. We get a rejuve, and we end up getting a shrine. So at this point, even though we're down like 15k, we are definitely favored to win the game, especially having the shrine. So after you get one shrine, if you guys don't know, your wave in the lane that you take the shrine and the blue lane will push for the rest of the game as your troopers get stronger. So our yellow lane and our blue lane are pushing for the rest of the game, and the troopers in those lanes are worth 15% less souls. So that's a really big swing for us. And at this point, like, I'm a hyper carry, I'm on Wraith, I have all my items. So, like, at this point, our team is in a pretty good spot. So let's see what item I buy here. Okay, I upgrade Reactive Barrier to Endom, which I think, looking back, I think is fine. I think maybe E-Shift, like, arguably E-Shift is a better buy, but, like, I know at this point, what I was thinking to myself is the only way that I can, like, the most likely way that I die is this guy uses his Veil Walker to, like, find me while I'm farming or, like, hitting a bridge buff or going to the shop or something, and then he lassos me. And Endom is, like, the best item to stop that from happening. Because Holiday can proc the Endom using the displacement from her barrels, but I was thinking to myself, like, even if she does that, I'll have enough time to react by ulting her and then teleporting out, so. But at this point, I do so much damage that the rest of the items that I build this game, unless it like goes like 10 or 15 more minutes, should just be items that keep me alive. So like Endom is good. Counterspell is very good. It stops Infernusol. It can stop Lasso if you have good reaction time. It stops Abrams charge. And then E-Shift is very good too. Let's speed it up here. See, I think my Doorman is able to kidnap the Abrams here, so he was kind of just a free kill.
Headed to green. I see Paige.
I'm able to get the gun buff, which is really big, by the way. A lot of people underestimate the bridge buffs. Like, it's basically an entire extra 6k item. So I think I told my team that we should do the Urn here. Like, I have gun buff. I have counterspell now, so I have 2 defensive items. I have gun buff. And it's another objective fight. You already know what I'm going to say. I want to be playing out here where I can see the whole fight. I don't want to just run into the center of the objective before it's safe to. But I see here that I'm kind of just melting their team and they're all pretty low. I still have my counter spell, so I don't mind running in a little bit. Here, again, I'm not dropping down, like I'm staying on the bridge where I can see everything away from their team, and I'm just shooting them while my Billy's taking all the damage. But from here, it's a pretty easy cleanup, right? Again, I'm trying to maintain formation with my team. After I chase that Holiday out of the fight, I don't keep chasing her. I chase her out, and then I go back to my silver. Thought I had counterspell there. My drifter says Wraith carry. But, you know, that is what you have to do in these games to be able to win. Is, like, if you think about all the times in the mid game where I disengaged from fights, where I felt like I really didn't do anything, like the first Urn fight of the game, where I had no cards and like my team was dying, I didn't try to stay and like turn the urn fight with some hero play. I just left. And then, you know, when my drifter got ganked over here, like my silver died and then my drifter was getting gone on by the furnace in the holiday, I didn't die, I just left. And then because I was alive for that, I was able to contest mid boss and burn the rejuve. Then I was still alive for when they pushed the walker, I burned another rejuve. And it's those kinds of decisions where you play your life and get your farm, hit your items, and stay alive for the key fights that happen in the game. That is how you climb by playing this role. And then during the fights, you just have to position well. And I think, you know, I would like to make a positioning guide because I feel like a lot of the people that play carry in this game, like, especially, you know, in Ascendant or Oracle or Phantom or whatever, most players have, like, pretty good mechanics like aim and movement. And some of them even are pretty good at itemization, but one thing consistently that almost every single player is bad at in this game outside of like the high Eternus carry players is positioning. Like most carry players have no idea where to stand and they just run into the center of the fight and kill themselves. And then bang, you're like your highest net worth character who spent the whole game stealing all your team's jungle is just dead. But I think from here the game is pretty straightforward and we end up winning it. Let's see. Yeah, just a matter of killing their team. But that's the game. So just keep in mind, I would say like the big things this game that I would like you guys to take away is play around your power spikes in lane. It just takes time and game knowledge to learn what those power spikes are for your character. If you read your ability point upgrades and you look at the items that are in the build that you're using, you should be able to kind of see, like, okay, after I get this item and this ability point that like doubles the damage that the spell has, I'm going to be a lot stronger. So I didn't really fight the Page and the Geist until I had my Merc Mag and my full auto. And then in the mid game, I tried to show up to fights when it was a good idea to, but if the fight was lost and was just going to result in me dying, I just left. And that's something that you have to know how to do. Because whenever you're dead, you aren't getting farm. And if I didn't have as much farm as I did whenever the key team fights that occurred in this game happened, we would have just lost the game. And it would have been my fault for trying to save my teammate and dying. So don't have helper syndrome. You need to hit your items. You need to hit your timings. And make sure during the fights that you're positioning well. And do not build damage items whenever you're already doing enough damage. Your goal is to do damage on this role, so if there is a key fight coming up and you know based on your experience with the character and the state of the game, if you aren't going to be able to do your primary job, which is to do damage and kill them, then you need to just build damage. You need to build damage because if you aren't going to be doing damage, then it's very unlikely that your team is going to be able to win fights. This is obviously something that you have to kind of analyze the state of the game and think for yourself a little bit, because if your team has multiple carries that are very good at doing damage, like we had a Fed Yamato, Fed Warden, Fed Mina, like stuff like this, then that would have maybe altered the analysis a little bit. But in this team comp, I am the majority of our team's damage. So if I'm not spending my net worth on damage when we are lacking damage, then we're going to lose fights due to a lack of damage. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'm still getting comfortable talking in front of a camera like this and kind of commentating out loud my thoughts and my thought processes, so please bear with me. But if you like the video, please like the video and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for another video, please leave them in the comments down below. I'm going to really try to start making a lot of videos that will hopefully be progressively higher and higher quality as I get more comfortable editing and talking in front of a camera, get a better mic, etc. So if you want to see like a Wraith guide, she's one of my most played heroes in high Eternus lobbies, I can make a Wraith guide. If you want to see a positioning guide, an itemization guide, etc. Anything that you think would help make you guys better at the game, leave it in the comments and I will consider making a video on it because I need some video ideas. So I hope you guys have a great day and good luck in your games.
Set yourself